RadioShack is to rebrand as a cryptocurrency exchange platform. RadioShack. When was the last time you heard the name RadioShack? I don't think anyone even thought RadioShack still even existed, right? So RadioShack announced plans to rebrand as a cryptocurrency exchange platform in an effort to keep the 100-year-old brand alive. The Texas-based retailer filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2015, and again 2 years later, before Retail E-commerce Ventures (Rev) acquired the company in November 2020. Rev leaders Ty Lopez and Alex Mayer also founded Atlas Universal Store of Value (USV), a crypto that has now partnered with RadioShack to help realize this new vision. The RadioShack brands have resonated with consumers for nearly 100 years, and we are confident RadioShack's relaunch as a cutting edge e commerce company will amplify the awareness of this iconic brand internationally, Mayer said in a statement last year upon acquisition. 1 year later, Rev will try to revamp RadioShack as a decentralized finance area to lead the way for blockchain tech to reach mainstream adoption. Mayer and Lopez specifically aim to bridge the generational gap that currently exists between the more active crypto community and the wider mainstream audience. We will be the bridge between the CEOs who lead the road corporations and the new road of cryptocurrencies, a statement on RadioShack's website reads. RadioShack initially plans to serve as a token swap market, which it called the lowest hanging fruit among the many DeFi opportunities, and this sets RadioShack up as a competitor to exchange services such as Coinbase and Binance. The company justified partnering with Atlas USV because it is a long-term holder, not a reward-oriented short-term provider of liquidity. Now, some experts believe 2022 is the year in which cryptocurrency can see its greatest uptake in adoption and participation in cryptocurrency, meaning RadioShack's move may be perfectly timed. And Rev has purchased a number of familiar retail brands that faltered in the past decade, including Models, Pier 1, and Dress Barn. So, I mean, feel free to give your thoughts, but here's the thing, right? To me, if they're going to go into the cryptocurrency space, which is kind of shady, right? For many different reasons. Perfect example is the Squid token, where people literally put like their life savings into it, into basically an obvious scam and basically lost everything. To me, it makes more sense for like a brand, like Radio Shack's brand, to actually be more like a cryptocurrency vending machine, or like basically an ATM, not necessarily a vending machine, but like an ATM, right? So that you could basically just buy crypto or sell crypto for cash right then and there at a storefront, right? Like there's already cryptocurrency ATMs out there. And the reason why I say this is because then you're more inclined to make some really good margins on like businesses that go heavy in cash. We're talking like laundromats, we're talking like medicinal dispensaries, which you could basically guess, like the more questionable legal side of the whole medical catering, basically. You could also do this in like tobacco shops. There's probably a lot of people that spend cash at tobacco shops, so or smoke shops in general. You could do this in pharmacies as well. Like that's where I would see this more so. Not necessarily like a cryptocurrency exchange, but more like a cryptocurrency ATM. Because those already exist, already make really good margins where they're located, and make it easier on the business and make it easier for the customers. Because then they could just exchange their crypto for straight cash, or people could just buy crypto right there and do business. So there's different ways to really think about it. That's the way that I think that they would probably go, but who knows, right? Ty Lopez and the Alex Mayer individuals might be going down the right path. One thing for sure, there's a lot of possibility in making a lot of money in the cryptocurrency space. Like the cryptocurrency space is basically like in a situation now where you could literally have a meme coin or a very crap coin and you end up becoming a billionaire by just putting like 5 grand, 1 grand into like a random coin and it ends up just blowing up on social media, on TikTok and all that kind of stuff, and you end up getting super rich, right? Like there's literally been a person who put like 5 grand into the cryptocurrency Shiba Inu and became a multi billionaire. Okay? Not millionaire, billionaire. Okay? That goes to show you how crazy this crypto market has become. Another example as like the power, right? I was recently listening to a podcast between Dan Bazarian and More Plates, More Dates, which was a very interesting podcast. And Dan Bazarian was making a comment where his videographer, the guy that he pays to just film him, made $25 million this year in cryptocurrency, like from cryptocurrency. And this was a guy that he was paying like, maybe a couple $100 or a few $1,000s per week, right? Made $25 million from cryptocurrency. It's insane when you really think about it, like the power that can happen from this. Like another way to really look at it, there's like two main ways to really look at it, right? You could look at cryptocurrency as if you are getting involved into a Ponzi scheme or you're buying a lottery ticket. Like that's like two ways that you could really look at cryptocurrency on a whole, right? Because you have the chance to be involved into a Ponzi scheme because basically most of these cryptos are basically Ponzi schemes. I said most, not all, but most are basically Ponzi schemes. No real product, no real service, nothing really exists, and yet people just keep on buying in and buying in and buying in, even though there's nothing actually there. And the whole lottery ticket thing is that you might get lucky in terms of when you buy into this basically Ponzi scheme to where if you end up exiting at the right time, you can make disgusting amounts of money, right? Now we always preach, the best way to really for the majority of people to invest their money is just to do like an S&P 500 ETF, right? Very calm, non-stressful, stick money in there and you're basically going to have a very consistent return every single year, right? And we always recommend people getting out of debt as well before you really do any investing so that you have no risk to yourself, right? And it's very tempting for a lot of people to just be like, hey, maybe if I just drop like a couple $100 from my credit card, maybe I could become a millionaire, right? And this was the same issue when it came to like GameStop, AMC, that whole explosion of movement, like apes stay together and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's cool to see, but not everyone wins in those situations. There's people who end up buying at the peak using all the money that they have, that they own, and end up basically losing every single cent that they have. So it's something to really consider when you get involved into these things because, look, cryptocurrency is something that you could end up making a lot of money, but there's also something that you could lose everything. So if you do end up getting into cryptocurrency in whatever way, do it after you pay off your debt so that you could use money that will have zero impact on your personal finance situation, like your lifestyle situation, right? And the reason why we push for getting out of debt so much, regardless if these Congress people are doing insider trading or they're picking these specific stocks and all that kind of stuff, right? The reason why we push getting out of debt so much is because we want you to have the freedom to basically invest in whatever you have with this increase of cash flow every month because you have no payments, while also reducing your risk to your lifestyle, right? Because if you knew that you could go spend like that, you could basically bet $2,000 every single month into like very risky cryptocurrencies that might end up paying off like a 1,000% return in like 2 months, you would have the ability to do that without risking your day to day existence, right? Like, we want you to have the freedom to be able to go down that road if you want to go down that road. But you can't really go down that road without any risk to your lifestyle if you have a lot of debt. So that's the reason why we push so hard with getting out of debt, because we want you to have the freedom of options. So stay tuned for more. If you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40unbox.com.